Okay. Let me see if I can share this. Um, all right, bear with me, guys. I'm setting this up on Twitter, and we'll call it live. Wild with Wilder. So we're putting up the live stream for what's happening right now. Um, I'm gonna have to fix my dates next time. All right, cool. We've got a link up. I can see that we're live on YouTube. Let's go. Thank you, everybody, for watching Wild with Wilder. I'm your host, Ilix Wilder, and we're going to be talking a little bit about everything. It's a really fantastic day. It is February 25th. So let me kind of pull up what's on my mind. I hope everybody had a really fantastic Valentine's Day. So before we get into everything, like normal, we're going to talk about all the Veve stuff, all the cool things happening. We're going to talk a little bit of manga today, a little bit anime, some Skyrim. We're going to go through some great other things in the Veve world. But let's talk a little bit about Valentine's Day. So me and Mrs. Wilder, we went to brunch. That's one of those things, too, where we go to brunch every single year for Valentine's Day. It's a tradition that started, I don't know, 6 years ago. We had tried to go to a lot of the restaurants on Valentine's Day, and I always feel like it's really overplayed. You end up going to the restaurant at night. If it's a popular one, they have changed the menu. A lot of times they have an altered menu where you might end up paying maybe a little bit more, but you get a very specific package, and it'll now be like 6 courses instead of just you going, getting appetizers and deciding as you go. Also, unless you're really willing to fit like some huge bills, the restaurants are really dense, they're crowded. All the popular ones end up being kind of the same locations that absolutely everyone goes. I've even seen some less than optimal experiences of people trying to get into venues and places where maybe they didn't have a reservation. Maybe they didn't realize it was going to be as busy as it was. So I don't like sitting by the kitchen. I don't really like sitting by the bathrooms. I want a good spot. So one year, I took her to brunch out in one of the fancier places out here in Texas, and it was just the perfect environment. It was the perfect gathering together of quality plus enjoyment. Plus, the energy was just way less frantic and much more smooth and easygoing. It created this light cloud where we sat, we dined. There was a pre-prepared menu, and it was still probably the best eggs Benedict I've ever had in my life. They made their own homemade chili, like venison chili, eggs Benedict something, and I love eggs Benedict. So that was a lot of fun. Now, in this instance, so we've been doing the brunch thing for years for Valentine's Day because we go out to dinner a lot. We've been to almost all of the quality restaurants in the city. There's a lot of the up and coming, like more trendy restaurants we haven't been to, but we always seek out those really fun, good quality places. And so we're not like stressing as much about Valentine's Day. Now I understand for the couples that are a lot younger than us that haven't been together as long, the guy, he wants to impress his girl, the girl, she wants something impressive, but you don't want to break the bank. So I think that this is a really good way to where you can do something unique, which is unexpected for her, because you take her on this almost like this Valentine's Day adventure that she's not expecting. And then after the fact, you can just kind of like go to the mall, walk around, like whatever the nice mall is in the city. And you can, oh, well, I'm going to get you, like a new top, or I'm going to get you, if she likes to shop, I'm going to get you a new whatever, and already have it kind of picked out. There's something that I have picked out for you, right? I want to see how you look in it. And then you kind of set the parameters on the price. So you save money on on the brunch by, going to brunch instead of dinner. Then you can, apply that towards something else, a small gift, or like have a massage ready to go for her or something like that. So that tends to be what we do every single year. And, just a little pro tip. Now, all that being said, I, every year, I find like a brunch spot or something new, or we try something, or we've done dinner a couple of times. It's worked out because I'm way more planny. Once kind of Christmas time rolls around, I'm like, let me make the reservation. Well, not this year. It was very, very interesting year for me because she was like, I want to make the reservation. I'm going to decide which place we want to go. No, first she said she was going to pick the restaurant. And so she told me, I'm going to pick the restaurant. So I said, okay, cool. When you decide, let me know, and I'll make the reservation. So, some days go by, some weeks go by. And now it's end of December. It's early January. And I'm like, hey, we don't have a reservation. She's like, oh, wait. I'm about to find the restaurant. So then we get to 2 weeks into January, and I'm like, okay, tell me the restaurant, or I'm going to pick where we're going. But eventually she found a place in the city that we had never been. So it was really fun going for brunch this year from my perspective, because I really wasn't the one who had picked the location. And I think she did a pretty good job. The place was really nice. The atmosphere was really cool. But it was more casual than we're used to, because, we kind of got dressed up, like dressy casual, where I had on jeans, but, I was still kind of dressed up. She was looking really, really good, like always. And there was a lot of people that were rarely really dressed down, because obviously it's brunch. We were at a restaurant inside of a hotel. So the way that goes, sometimes people are just coming downstairs for breakfast, but it was still a really, really nice place. The bar was great. The drinks were really good. So we had a really good time. I think that Valentine's Day is one of those holidays where you shouldn't really stress about it. It's more so about your attitude surrounding the holiday. What do you really want to do, and what time do you want to have? Because you can't just throw stuff at somebody who says that they want a certain thing, because they may think they want it, but then when they really get in there, they're like, I'm not feeling it, or this is too much, or it's overwhelming. And a lot of times too, when you get to all of that setup, sorry, I'm trying to get settled, y'all. When you get to all of that setup work, the juice may not be worth the squeeze. So you really have to kind of focus on what is actually of value versus what appears as value. I'm getting all these like crazy likes and stuff. Let me look over at YouTube really, really quick. I don't think anybody is in the chat, but if you do want to chat, go ahead and leave me something in YouTube in the chat stream. I will check it when I can. For now, let's kind of keep going. So yeah, that was our Valentine's Day holiday. We had a ton of fun. And, you know what? Let me say one more thing. So that was the day before. We usually do the dinner on the brunch day, which usually is like a weekend, like a Saturday or Sunday or something like that. But today, Valentine's Day being yesterday, we she had to go to work. So I started sending her a couple of like things to the office. Just some small little couple of things. Like I sent like Uber Eats, got her some breakfast, nothing crazy, just like a little pick me up. And then I sent her some cupcakes, again, nothing crazy. Uber Eats, DoorDash, Postmates, all that stuff. It's making Valentine's Day and other holidays way more viable. Like, don't stress about this stuff. Even if it's last minute, you don't have to do exactly what everybody else is doing. I just never understood that. So there's some stuff that she wanted, like some certain types of chocolates. So I went and grabbed those, but I also got a couple of my things and a little of my own flavor. I think it's a fantastic, fun way to just kind of do something unique and fun. Some people like to do more adventurous stuff, getaways. We've done that, staycations. We've done that. Or just your stereotypical, hey, I bought you a bunch of flowers. I like to do flowers at random occasions, not so much Valentine's Day. I think they stand out more. But at the same time, when it's those holidays, it's always fun to do something like that. So that was our Valentine's Day adventure. I hope you guys had a really good Valentine's Day as well. So here on Wild with Wilder, I talk a lot about just stuff I'm into. I talk about Veve. So we're going to do Veve Market Watch a little bit later in the show. But I'm also a huge anime fan. If you kind of look behind me over my shoulder here, you'll see that I have a bunch of manga right there on the shelf. I have a Funko Pop that one of my good friends gave me. That is from My Hero Academia, and I might show a couple of the Funko Pops that I've been giving at random one day. Up higher, you have like a wanted poster for Zorro that's kind of carved into wood. I got it from Comic-Con. I'm going to have to do a video of just, hey, here's some of my stuff that I like, some cool stuff, and so forth and so on. So I'm a big anime fan. I'm a big manga fan. But as I get older, having the time to really zoom in and really be able to kind of watch anime and manga the way that I used to, my time is so limited. I want to make videos. I want to get out. I want to do some collecting. I want to do some investing. I'm trying to elevate because I've been in the game in terms of the trying to do the right thing game, trying to go down the corporate road game, trying to do what you think is the mature thing to do, but you have to realize that maturity has a lot of facets and we are all different. So what's going to be maturity for myself is not going to be the same. It's not going to look the same as maturity for someone else. We have different personalities and we have to hone in on those strengths that allow us to be who we are as opposed to trying to fake it and be someone that we're not. So one of the things that I realized after working in corporate for as long as I did is that I had to really embrace the sides of myself that make me myself. And, I'm going to talk a little bit about them here. So I'm going to start doing this live show daily, as often as possible. If I ever don't do the show, I will let you guys know on Twitter. But starting today, day after Valentine's Day, this is the inaugural new version. You saw one of my other videos. I showed myself at Best Buy getting my adapter. So now my computer will not go out. I'm probably going to have to start keeping the fan next to it because my poor little MacBook, it has a tendency to not be able to keep up with the newer technology. I'm going to have to get a new machine eventually. But I'm saying all that to say that last night I was like, finally, it's been holidays. It's been all this stuff going on. I can finally watch some anime. So I sat down to watch Demon Slayer Season 2. So I want to talk a little bit about my experience with Demon Slayer Season 2. And do not worry, there will be no spoilers for the new Demon Slayer. because I didn't even finish the first episode of the season. So let's look at it just a little bit. I'm on the Crunchyroll website. There's 11 new episodes out for the second season of Demon Slayer. Now, this takes place after the Mugen Train movie. Me and a friend saw it in theaters. It was kind of fun, but it didn't grab me the same way the first season of Demon Slayer did, which is why I had huge anticipation for this season. And what's so fun about this show is how it really establishes stakes right away. So in the early episodes of Demon Slayer, in episode 1 that this world is dangerous. You know by episode 2 how dangerous it is. And it is a fantastic new type of tension that we didn't know we needed to experience. A lot of the Shonen Jump type stories, they don't have that weight. They don't have the sense that these characters might actually die, and that might be part of the story. When Demon Slayer started, I didn't think that he was going to die per se, but I did think anyone that was around him might, because you felt so exposed in this world. It's not for a good time until you felt like the characters were capable. So it really understood how to set up stakes for the world. What Goblin Slayer does in episode 1, so does Demon Slayer in episode 1, 2, 3, 4. Like it kind of keeps going. Now, all of that said, I was really, really hyped to watch this episode. And I'm going to say, no spoilers at all. I was so bored. I really was. And I think it's just because of the type of episode that it is. There's a lot of emotional baggage that kind of comes with everything the characters have been experiencing. And so they're addressing the emotional side of what they're doing in this way. So being who I am, I'm very much interested in the practical, in the mechanical, in kind of the how they're doing something as opposed to how it makes them feel. And that's probably because of my personality type. And I know that with this show, the main character, he's a very emotion first type of character. So he's very caring, he's very nurturing, he's very kind, supportive, but also he can get dejected and get wrapped up in the emotion itself. So it's a really nice foil for some of the other more hyperlogical Shonen Jump shows like Hunter x Hunter. But I wasn't in the mood to watch it. So instead, I'm going to give you my manga recommendation for something I started rereading last night and this morning, and I'm just having a great time rereading it. I'm going to try not to spoil it either because I want you guys to read it. If I have to pick between anime and manga, I always pick manga first, and then eventually I'll try anime. And sometimes the anime wins out, but a lot of times the manga wins out for me. This one I don't think has an anime yet, so it's perfect. This one is called Monster, and it is a very interesting story. So it's been out for some years now. I'm not going to read the synopsis because I know it fairly well. It's another isekai story, but not in the way that you expect. There is something a little bit extra kind of going on. So if you don't even want to know about the synopsis, I'm going to tell you exactly how it kind of starts, how it gets going. So what was really been popular since, 2019, 2018, something like that, is the boom in the isekai stories. The joke is you have your typical salary man, he's walking home from work, or your typical salary woman, she's walking home, or someone's walking home from school. They don't look both ways and they get hit by a truck and they wake up, I'm in a completely different magic world. And now people get to live out their fantasy of what if the world was like an MMO or like a video game or something like that. So you have some of the more somber ones like Sword Art Online, which is the second coming of .hack, which was the only version of this type of series back in like 2003, 2004, something like that, maybe 2002, when this type of MMOs and video games were still on the newer side. We had EverQuest, we had, I don't know if we had World of Warcraft yet. I think we did, because I think that came out in 2001, 2002 or something like that. We also had Dark Age of Camelot and a few others. And so that started to inspire this genre in anime. They even made a video, some .hack video games, which I tried to play, but I thought they were really boring. I think the show is really boring too. Then there were some that it started to become less about, okay, well, it's not so much about being trapped in this world. It's about, what if it kind of was a video game? And so you get the rewards for the game as if you're a human being, but you're still like in the world operating it as if it's a video game. But if you go in and you steal 100 gold in the game, you get to use that gold in real world, like something like that. Like that's the feeling, comparative feeling that you kind of get. So Monster takes it a step further, and it really focuses in on the actual playing, the structure, how does the skills work? How do the spells work? So it has this really fabulous breakdown of what aspects are actually being learned by the player. So to kind of give you the quick breakdown, because I really want you to read it. It's really interesting. I think that this is a seinen story because there are some mature concepts that are going on, but you have a person who lived in another world. It's not our world, because in this other world where they lived, there was things like spells. And so it's almost like they died in one game. He was killed at the very, very first chapter, and then he gets reborn as a goblin. He literally starts off as like a goblin, like a baby goblin, born with two other baby goblins. And that's how the story starts. So it's like he's born as a goblin, and he's looking around, and he's now, he has to sleep for a couple days, but then he becomes this goblin kid. And in this world, there are your typical RPG things. There's classes, there's monsters in the forest, there are small societies, and there's different races. There's goblins, there's orcs, there's humans, so forth and so on. So that sets it apart from the jump insofar as that we get to see things from the goblin perspective as opposed to the stereotypical isekai perspective, which is, the typical isekai perspective, it's just human, and then he goes into another world, but he's still a human. He goes to the king and stuff. And this one, he's living with basically the enemy. So it's a really interesting take in that regard. And now he also has his consciousness from previously, which is kind of the thing that pulls you into the isekai story, is that you maintain your memory. So you understand how great it is to be here, and he immediately goes to work. So he's a very slow, methodical character that kind of gets to learn the spells and skills that the other goblins don't really know, and so they kind of have to look to him, and that's kind of the beauty of it. His cheat in this world is he has a skill where he can eat things to gain abilities. So he goes out, he kills a rabbit. Okay, I ate a rabbit pelt. Now I learned some skill that a rabbit has. And as you can see, just me telling that, he starts to compile the different skills based on the different monsters that he eats, and the story really progresses. I love this story because it takes its time. It really establishes the world. The world building, I think, is phenomenal, and it really touches on the curiosities of the what if. Like people like me that love anime, manga, Marvel, all that stuff. We love speculative genres. We love fiction that asks questions. What if the world was like this? What if zombies attack? What if there was a big purple guy who was coming to get rid of half of the universe's populations? I love stuff like that. So if you're a lot like me, you will really get down with this. Now, there is no anime for this yet. It feels like a game, so I think there's probably a video game derivative, but not a real one. But I highly recommend you guys read it. It's one of my favorites, and I cannot say enough about it. One of the reasons, too, that I'm so big into this is that I've really, really been playing a lot of Skyrim. Skyrim is, I guess I should call it officially my new favorite video game. My previous is Final Fantasy VIII. But I think now I've probably played Skyrim more times, more often, that it is now number one. And Final Fantasy VIII is probably number two. So we're just over here on the Skyrim website because I kind of wanted you to get in that Skyrim mood, to get in that zone with me while I kind of express why that is. I've been really attracted to this game for a lot of reasons because it's so slow, it's so patient. It really allows you to experience everything in the world, and it operates on a scale that other RPGs have been mimicking for years now. So it came out in 2011, and I haven't been able to put it down. I actually have a pact with myself right now that I can't buy any more secondhand video games until I finish everything in Skyrim. That's the new rule. The reason for that is because I've bought myself a lot of different titles games I just missed because I've just been working or I've been too busy. Games like Dragon Age Inquisition, which I missed because I didn't have a PlayStation 3 when it came out. So I got it on 4. I played a little bit. It got set up. And then I'm like, but what's happening in Skyrim, though? And I have a bunch more games like that. So now I'm like, okay, we're going all in. I keep finding myself pulled back to Skyrim. And I keep obsessing about all the little things. So I think I just bought all of the houses in Skyrim that I want so far. Lakeview Manor is getting better and better. I was able to get a steward. I made Lydia the steward. I have moved my Skyrim family to the new house in Solitude, away from Breeze Home because there's 2 kids. And I'm even doing things with some specific things in the home in Markarth that I'm not doing at the home in Breeze Home, that I'm not doing at the home. Like, it's just one of those games, and I'm just fascinated by not only by the game itself. Like, I know the game is great. The game is a lot of fun. The game is one of those obsessive titles that people continue to play. Like, if you go to Reddit, look at the Skyrim forums, people are posting memes every day. They're posting, oh, I did this today. Oh, I did that today. I don't know which subreddit is more obsessive, them or the Office subreddit, where it's just daily memes, or maybe free folk who are still raging about the last season of Game of Thrones. But the Skyrim community is what's up. So there's a couple of things that when it comes to Skyrim that I'm messing with and I'm playing with, like, right now. The idea of getting to the max level, making skills go beyond level 100. So the only level 100 skill I have is heavy armor, and right now it's at 101. So it's starting to get into that legendary status. How many perks can I get? How slow does it take to level up perks? Where do I put them? But the more that I get to this kind of Skyrim, the closer to level 50, the more it actually feels like a true end game. I'm notorious too for not finishing video games. I'm notorious for not completing them once I became an adult. when I was probably 24, 23, that's really when I finished most of my games because I just had way more time. I had whatever little job I had, and then I didn't have to put much money into like other stuff, so I could just sit, listen to books, listen to whatever, and just play RPGs endlessly. So I had a lot of great time playing through some titles, but when the responsibilities roll in, you don't have time to do everything. So I've found that Skyrim is what I enjoy the most. So like my obsession with it is it's kind of nuts. My obsession with it is kind of great. And I'm actually writing something, a script for this platform to try to answer that question. It's getting longer and longer, but I'm going to take you guys through my history of Skyrim, my history of Bethesda games, how I think things are going, and maybe I can get into why I'm so obsessed. I mean, off the top of my head, I think because of the pace in the atmosphere. So my favorite story type is adventure. Adventure stories are very specific in that they're feeding a certain need for environmental variety, being senses of wonderment and awe, something that I just kind of need in my life. When I'm playing a video game, I like to go to the new place. Oh, this is the ice world. Oh, this is the desert world. I love the variety and to look at the nooks and crannies and see how different it feels. Final Fantasy 12 in particular really hit the nail on the head of when you first arrive to a new environment, giving you, the player, that sense of wonder that a lot of games just don't match. Like I remember when I got to the Sand Sea for the first time and the world just kind of started to breathe, and it really felt like a real place. It really felt like a wonderful thing, unique, outstanding, beautiful. And that's what Skyrim is on a consistent basis. So now I'm just stocking stuff in the houses. I'm going on little mini adventures, and I'm just going and really experiencing the world, uncovering things, because there's still time until the next one. So I'm just going to play as much as I can, hope for the best. We have no idea when 6 is coming. Like, isn't that just like hilarious? We don't know. We know that Starfield is coming, sort of. But Todd Howard, or maybe just the studio themselves, announced maybe a month ago that they just really started doing the principal work on this game. And there's a lot of people who are like, well, what about, there's a woman who, she's older. Skyrim ended up like being like her favorite video game. She got really popular. So they said they were going to put her in Elder Scrolls 6. And people are like, well, come on, let's get it out. When's she going to see her character? Because that's a huge deal. So we'll see. So yeah, like as much as I've been obsessed with manga, anime, Veve, markets, and all that stuff, I've been really obsessing about Skyrim too. I'm playing it on the PS4. I know eventually when I get a Steam Deck, because I know that's coming. That's the most genius invention, in my opinion, in a long time. I think the Steam Deck is going to revolutionize everything. So thank you so much for that. Let's get into some of this Veve topics, the Veve news. We'll see what we can kind of get into. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe below. Really, the like button is what I need. I need that engagement so that we can keep doing more of these. See, you guys can't get rid of me now. I've got my hookup. I'm going to get some fans over here. We've got our good lighting. I'm going to keep trying to improve the quality of this show because it's just a whole lot of fun. So let's get into one of our favorite topics, and that's the world of Veve. So this was yesterday, the Fantastic Four drop that happened. What's crazy about this Fantastic Four drop is that it kind of like came and went. It like hit with, not with a bang, but with a whimper. And I don't know too many people who are talking about it. And I'm pulling up the Veve app right now because I want to see where the market kind of settled, because people are really starting to try and figure out where is the real value, because we're getting a lot of comic books. We're getting another comic book tomorrow, something like that. The first Misty Night, first appearance of Misty Night. Now it's Black History Month, so they're bringing out all of the African American comic book characters for Marvel. I haven't seen any for DC yet. Let's look at the market real quick right now. Guys, hit the like button while I'm pulling this up. Make sure that you're spreading that engagement and kind of joining in. Okay, so the Fantastic Four annual, I'm just going to look at the common for now, because I like to judge off of what the common is doing to see how much do people think that they value this book so far. So the floor is at 15.6 gems. There's 952 in the marketplace, so it's still super, super early. If people think that something else big is coming, then they're still going to let the prices go down. And if I go to new collectibles, actually, because I kind of want to see what that new Disney, the new Disney drop, what that did yesterday, the golden moments, if I can get them to pull up for me. And it's funny because usually the new stuff is right there on the new collectibles. Okay, here we go. Lady and the Tramp. Floor price is $1,355 flat. Now, I knew that was going to happen. And I think that price is being priced off of the previous golden moments. Whatever the floor is for the other golden moments, they're not going to just put these new ones down for like 800 or 700 or anything like that. They're going to want it to be somewhat even because they want the value for this new set to kind of match the value for the previous set. So I personally am not going after the current golden moments yet. Like, I'm on a slightly different mission, but just looking at these and the Fantastic Four covers and how kind of cool this one is right here. And obviously they're doing that with the white backdrops and the retro style artwork. This might be really fun to have, but it's not a super important comic book yet. I think they're trying to make these characters important. Sue Storm, Reed Richards, Fantastic Four movie is coming. I can smell it. And I think that they're trying to add some weight to the Sue Storm. So I have a bunch of the first appearances of, not FAs. I have a bunch of the full figured Sue Storms. The first time she appears as a tall, normal size figure. And I also have like just one of each of the Mighties. I didn't really stack the Mighties, but I think the market is kind of doing its thing. We're putting out comics a lot, and the floor tends to be on the ones that people aren't into around 15 gems. That's about the average. This one is no different, slightly higher, but I think that's just because, and I mean for the commons. I think that's just because we're getting a lot of comics. Fantastic Four is not popular, but I have a feeling it might be yet. So if you like are just stacking MCP points, you know, they're not too crazy, but it can still be really pricey if you want to get a lot. I don't know if we're going to ever get those super, super low items. Something crazy is going to have to happen, and then we're going to see a huge sale. They're going to have to make an announcement of something really ridiculous, and that's maybe when we're going to get those opportunities to get stuff way below floor price or listing price, retail price that we couldn't ordinarily get. So let's hop over to Veve Collectibles and kind of see what's coming. Okay, yeah, so let's look at this first appearance of Misty Night a little bit. There's no Medium article for it yet, but it was Iron Fist number 21. It says Premiere number 21. I don't know if that's different than just regular. And they have a couple of exclusives. Now, it's so funny because they're pushing the first appearance of Misty Knight, but she didn't have her own book at the time. She appeared first time in Iron Fist. She's part of the Heroes for Hire group. Her, Luke Cage, a couple of other characters. Iron Fist is in that world as well. And these characters really didn't get that gravitas until the Netflix show, except for Iron Fist. I think they did him wrong. Him being a popular character, plus the controversy that's surrounding him. New Iron Fist tomorrow. And I think that something different. They want Misty Knight to have a little bit more impact, but for her to do that, they need to be able to bring her actually into the MCU and not just leaving her on Netflix. So they've been in talks about this for a long time. Maybe if she gets a real appearance, but I just don't see people shooting out to grab this issue when everyone is like, but they just dropped a golden moment. What if they drop another? And I think that's kind of what I'm thinking too, because let me go back. So they dropped this golden moment, right? Dropped it Valentine's Day. People had an opportunity to really go after these collectibles. I think that if we hop over here to the Medium article, it'll tell us that there was more editions of these than the previous golden moments. So we have 13,333 editions of Lady and the Tramp, and 7,000. Wait. 13,333 of Donald and Daisy, and 7,777 of Lady and the Tramp. So a little more than half. And that right there is probably what's keeping the price of Lady and the Tramp as high as it is. Because if they put Donald and Daisy at 7,000, it would have ran away even more, because those are iconic, major Disney characters that are part of, Mickey and his peeps. And Lady and the Tramp, while iconic, they're more classic Disney, and they haven't had as many modern appearances. Though they did have the live action, which I never really watched. But I think that people like Lady and the Tramp, but I think it's the edition size that's keeping the price up. I think if the edition size were flipped, Lady and the Tramp would probably be around 1,000 or maybe around 900. Obviously, this is not financial advice, just kind of like my thinking. So like when they dropped Golden Moments, right? The last time, before I was on the app, they didn't just drop one Golden Moment. They dropped one, and then they waited. Then they dropped another, and then they waited. And they dropped another until eventually they dropped Walt. And Walt, with Mickey at 333 gems, shut the entire game down. People went nuts. People were going crazy. And eventually it ended up as the Walt Partners statue to where it is now. Now Walt Disney has his first NFT, the founder of the company, the importance of what actually has meaning to Disney people, the creator, the person that they admire, idealize in a lot of ways. He is in NFT form for the first time. That's a big deal. So him being on this app as an FA on the blockchain for the first time, I think was why it's so monumental. Why wouldn't they follow that same pattern again? It was so successful. Get you excited for golden moments, then another one, and then bam. They said end of February, something crazy is coming. It might be another very important golden moment. It might be a very impactful character. It might be the first appearance of Black Panther, of a Miles Morales, like an in memoriam Black Panther figurine. That would go crazy. Things like that. This is what people are thinking and speculating on. So they 100% are just kind of holding off just in case. And I think after this month, that's when we're going to see the boom. After the golden moments, we're going to see the boom, because if they consistently drop more golden moments, they're going to want to see the golden moments rise. And the only way they're really going to see them rise is for them to let the market breathe a little bit. And when they let it breathe, then that influx of like the income is really going to zoom in and have a potential to shoot it up. Hopefully not a fake pump like with Batman Killer Croc when it got up to stupid amounts of money and now it's like what, 700, something crazy. It dropped precipitously. So I think that this is an amazing thing. I am absolutely loving this, and I hope they do a punch. I really do. So I want to do some market watch stuff as well. Before we do that, make sure to follow me on Twitter. This is my Twitter with Khan Supanusum phone right up there. He's cosplaying as Ethereum up in there. I'm gonna eventually update the avatar, the banner, because I'm not really sure what I want the Twitter vibe to be. I'm not really sure, but definitely check it out. Definitely follow me. Shoot me a message saying that you saw me here in Wild with Wilder, and I would really appreciate it. Let's kind of keep things going. Let me look real quick. Make sure the stream is still going good. It's going strong. I'm gonna have to figure out how to change that title because it still says 214, which it is not. That is not the title for what we're doing right now. So let's kind of keep writing. Let's kind of keep going through. I want to do some market watch. Make sure to check out Veve's Medium page where you can get all the info. I want to do a read through too of the MCP points. There was a article that came out a while back. Here it is, the Veve Master Collector Program 1.0, where I think it's going to be really important to go through it. Let's look at the market first. And if we have time, we'll look at it today. If not, we'll look at it mañana. I know it's not like I have to rush anymore, but I don't want to be too distracted because the market it's here, it's live, it's wild. So Veve's secondary market, floor prices, we have all the collectibles as of an hour ago. If you go to Economy Wiki, you can check out the collectibles, the comics. If you sign up and add your collectibles to your own vault, you can look at your comics, and then you can add certain ones to a watch list. I have a watch list that we've looked at multiple times, but now there is no rush. Let's really dive into these collectibles because I'm so curious. When I look at some of my collectibles on my personal chart where I'm dollar cost averaging, there was a little bit of a retracing yesterday, started to rise up, and then they kind of shot back down again by that night. So that makes me think that we're slowly kind of coming a little bit higher, up and down, up and down. There's probably going to be one more major dip, and then they're really going to go back up, but that's just my opinion. Do your own research. Okay, so let's kind of ride through, and that's right. I think that I can see the top two. Okay, cool. What I'm looking for is something interesting. If you scroll here, you can see the drop price over here on the right, number of editions, and then the floor. So if you look right here, you have $6.99 drop price for this Bigfoot. It's now sitting at $41 for the floor. For the common, it's an FA, and 235, is that the number? Yeah, that's the number of listings. I thought it would show like the percentage that it went up or down, but maybe not in this chart. There's so many Batman on here. Ice King sitting at a cool 160. Ultraman Ace rare. I love the Ultraman. I think it's the uncommon with the sword. I think that is super dope. It was sitting at around 700 for the longest, but the rare is at 1,199. So that's interesting for a first appearance. People are still banking on Ultraman really getting this huge impact once localization happens. But I'm tired of saying once localization happens, like what's going to make me some gems now? That's what I'm interested in because that's the space I'm in. Yeah, I have some long-term stuff too, but I need that first big return so I can kind of branch up to where I'm trying to get. As you kind of know, I'm probably going to be saying the phrase road to blue chip much less often because my strategy is starting to adjust. I'm not so much focusing on hurry up and get the blue chips. I'm focusing on increasing the Veve vault valuation in terms of just straight gems so that I can then stroll in leisurely and grab a blue chip piece once I have double the amount of its value. So now I'm thinking of flipping. I'm thinking of what do you want? What can I grab and flip? What is going to actually increase in value in 2 or 3 months? Stuff like that. So check out Finn 120. Robin is sitting at a healthy 188. Yesterday I saw him hit close to 240. So during that little initial bounce when stuff started to climb a little bit, he shot up. I always use him as a barometer because that is a piece that people want to be a blue chip. So the second that they sold theirs, they couldn't sell theirs, people delist because they still want to see if he's going to rise up more so they can not sell him at a loss. I think a lot of people got him on the pump like I did, either knowingly or unknowingly. And so now people are panicking to get into these golden moments and selling him for cheap. I still think that he's going to go back up to the previous pump levels of over 350, 375. I'm not going to be hesitant anymore. I'm just going to list him when he kind of gets to that point because I have different goals in mind. And you know I love Marceline with sitting at 75. I think that is an ultra rare FA that's just a good hold in my opinion. Her character is too popular. The Ultraman Common sitting about 396. People wanted to rival Steamboat Mickey or one of the others, but still doing pretty good. I love that Ritmo, man. Ultra rare FA. Let's kind of keep it going because I don't want to focus on the same ones that I looked at last time. So I'm going to do a couple of quick scrolls. Let's start with... Okay, let's start with this... a little bit more. Let's start with Sprite. Let's start with the Sprite, the Marvel Marties, and these golden moments. So Sprite as a rare is back up to about 76. I think I've seen her get in the low 70s, high 60s, but she being a rare is still sitting around that $70, $80 range. I guess that's pretty standard. I don't know if popularity has anything to do with it. I think it's just the fact that she is listed as a rare. And it's not a massive MCP point, not a massive money heist to invest in a Marvel Mighty FA rare because you get the MCP points and it's not too expensive. So King goes back up to 27. That sell wall is gone. It was at $24.99. There was about 20 or so posted. So people, I saw the lowest get to about 21. I'm assuming they all got snatched up. Now it's back to 27. So probably back kind of where it's going to be unless we have another crazy dip. So now we have the golden moments that everybody wants. The skateboard is sitting at 1.2K. Elza is at 3.6K. The pizza truck, 1.7K. Wally at 1.2. Getting lower. Uncommon. I think Wally is down there because he is the uncommon and there is an uncommon bias. Plus his character is a little bit more mature. So he's touching, but he's not fun. He doesn't ignite that sense of like that excitement. This is us on an adventure. It's more like he's teaching a lesson. So beautiful story, but I think that's probably why he's not as up there as some of the others. And then the partner statue dipped below 40K. So that's very interesting. Let's kind of keep it going. So I did some bids on the White L Snake board back when the prices were super low. I knew I wasn't going to get them, but I wanted to see the validity of the auction house. So auctions don't make any sense to me in terms of being a buyer or a seller. I haven't really seen anything sell for under the floor price or under the list price or anything yet. Maybe it's because I got into the app too late, but it just seems like a waste of time. Now, if anybody can present to me how they've been able to utilize the auction house and actually make more than they were expecting, or to get something for much less than they were expecting, let me know. Because it makes me think that it's only when you get to those upper echelons when people are really bidding on those super rare pieces. Like maybe there's like a particular mint number that you want and you and another person are going at it. Something like that. That's what I'm thinking. So obviously I didn't get the bids. The floor price is like at $149, but it's a very interesting concept. And CE, so these are convention editions, along with the Electric Lola and the Ride the Lightning board. So it would be nice to be able to grab one, but I'm not stressing over it. I'm just think it's really curious about that. Let's see. Hot Girl 240, Uncommon 83, Atlas Ready 140. Not bad, not bad. That Secret Rare Deadpool is at 2K, and I think people want it to be bigger than it is. But I don't know if we're going to get to that point to where it's actually going to pull us in or not. I don't really know. And then the ultra rare Steamboat Mickey is at 5K. The Holiday Groots, that uncommon, is at 58. Interesting. Those Groots are getting down to the prices from back when I first hopped into the app, which I think is fascinating, but that's neither here nor there. I got my common Groot at 37. I sold them for like 60, 63 or something like that. Then I saw them again at 37, and I wished that I had been prepared because I would have just bought them again, sold them again when the next pump happens. So I'm never gonna like let that opportunity pass me by anymore. So there's that Ultraman 7 370 on comment. I think that is the one for a lot of reasons. It is the only Ultraman that has a weapon. The only one, it has the coolest weapon that people like the best, which is swords. In the anime community, people like swords. And we also like seeing guns on screen. But I don't see any other Ultraman that have a sword. And I don't even know. Like, people are saying it's not the Ultraman that people know. Well, that's not really the Storm that we know. So if I were to go into an Ultraman, this is the one that I would get. I just can't afford the 370. And I think that's more long term. And I don't quite have the liquidity patience for that yet. So Supergirl FA, ultra rare, sitting at 920. She's up there. She doesn't play around. I think she was $1 something, but she probably went down during the squeeze because people are trying to get that extra liquidity. Let's go down to see what's interesting. Lady Unicorn. So the Batgirl FA is at 144. The FA of Batgirl is only at 144. That is interesting. Very interesting. Full-figured Batgirl. She is not like the shorter, like chibi version, kind of like Wonder Woman. And she's only sitting at 142. She's not a mighty. So that makes me question her popularity as a character. I'm still hanging on to my Batman figurine, or my Batgirl figurine, because I got her at 66, so $6 above list price. But I didn't dollar cost average and get another. I think there's going to be something there in the future a little bit when people start to get a little bit more, ooh, I want that and I want that. Now the Ecto 1 Interactive Comet is only at 68. Interesting. Now, I still want to know, are all versions of these cars drivable, or is it only the ultra rare secret rares? I really want to know, because otherwise, if they're not going to be drivable, why would I get this common for a series which isn't really pulling in fans like we think? As adults, we remember the Ghostbusters from a long time ago, movies from the 80s, watched them in the 90s, so forth. Kids don't know. The new Ghostbusters movie didn't do what the previous one did. The legacy was kind of all they had. And when you look at the reviews, they're kind of mixed. The one before that, where they brought in the all-female Ghostbusters teams with Leslie Jones and all of them, same thing. Reviews were very extreme. Either love it or hate it. Love it or hate it. It just didn't quite capture and spark the public's interest like Marvel movies do. They wanted to, but I don't think it's there yet. But does that mean that these cars are not going to be the same as the DeLorean? I think so. I think the DeLorean's a cooler car. But if they're drivable, that's the key. So that's a long time coming. Ooh, Spider-Man Rare, jump into action, 1000, FA Spider-Man, a clean barrier to entry for a Spider-Man piece. It's still very, very pricey. I don't know. Now, the way I'm looking at things now is I'm trying to get that 25% return to 50% return to 100%. Like, I'm looking at the return. I'm looking at the gems. What can I do with gems? Because that's the only way that I'm really going to set myself into a position that is going to put me where I want to be. I want to be with a very healthy vault valuation based on growth. Now, had I found the platform sooner, I would have seen much more explosive growth, a much larger pool based on what I'm doing. But now that I've been kind of sitting back, I've been listening, I'm starting to understand that the game really cycles differently. I'm starting to see my first real revolution of a pattern. As somebody who's only been in the space for about 2.5 months, I'm starting to see the prices start here, go here, and come back here. Start here, go here, come back down. But the ones that have growth, they go up, but then they only come down a little. Meaning, next time they go up, they'll probably surpass. So kind of depending on where you're at, you gotta pick which are the pieces that are gonna have that long-term, high return thing. So that's kind of where I'm at as well. Let's keep going. I love this. Now, I don't want to talk about Throg, not just yet, though I do love that character. He's hilarious. You guys know I love the glider. Captain Carter sitting at $298. I still think that if any of you guys hold this, I would wait. I wouldn't buy in. But if you happen to have one of these, and this is not financial advice, I would wait and see what happens when they change that tag from CE to FA, because they said they're going to do it. Based on the new system, and they put out the Veve Medium article, that CE tag is no longer going to be applicable to things that are actual figures with the Marvel license. That's reserved for Artist Alley creations and posters and objects. Or I should say that happened at conventions. Otherwise, it would get an FE. But because she's a Marvel Mighty and it's the first appearance of Captain Carter, she has to get an FA, so she's going to get upgraded. You might see a little bit of a boost when that happens. So if you got it, hold it. That's what I would do. I would wait and see. And if, say, I paid not that much and we're in a downswing, I think that when they flip that, it's going to go up a little bit. She's a rare already. She's a fan favorite character based on the movies. Steve Rogers got his dance in Endgame, and Captain Carter or Peggy Carter is a pretty good show. You know, around Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to some degree style entertainment. Alligator Loki at 50. I saw him when he was at 37, 35 when I first got on the app. I don't know if that's below list price, but that might be a good quick grab just to have another FA. Zombie Hunter Spider-Man #1. So this is a good example. When I first got on the app, he was at 72. So I got one. Had I known how this whole system works, I would have just got a bunch of him, because during the pump, he shot up well past 200, 250, somewhere in there. So that's already 2xing my return. It's 2xing now in the downturn at 180. So he's probably going to shoot up even more. But I'm not at that place yet. But that would have been a really interesting play. Macari is down to 44.25, man. It's really hard not to get a Macari. I'm trying not to just collect them all for the points. I really just want to get the gems, but I saw her get up to 80 and stuff like that because 60, because I think she's more popular than some of the others. And I'm not seeing the uncommon bias affecting her as much because she still tends to sit higher than the commons. Icarus goes up, but he was down to 31 at the lowest. I grabbed one at 33, so I'm still pretty happy at that. Let's look at these Avengers logo and Iron Man. So the Avengers logo golden moment is at 1.4. Iron Man's at 2.5. Healthy. They're probably going to go up during the pump. Everything's going to go up during the pump, which is, I don't think, until end of February, in truth. Maybe it's before, maybe it's soon, but I'm not going to hope that it's going to come tomorrow. I'm just going to keep acting with the market is right now and review, watch, not spend my little tiny bits of gems. And then if something pops up that allows me the opportunity to sell at my price, I will. R2D2, 7.8. I wouldn't chase him, though he is a fan favorite. Unless you just have extra like that, I wouldn't even bother. So yeah, the market is looking really interesting. Secret Rare Storm sitting at 1.7. People are really stacking Storm. First appearance of an X-Men, first appearance of Storm. She's going to be an upcoming Black Panther. So they're thinking that her figure is going to be very valuable. That's definitely a play that I'm not doing, but it's a really interesting one. So more power to them. Ultra rare battle mode for the Voltron 308, Common 77. Let's keep it going. So the gold Ghostbusters logo, that one is sitting at 29,000. Is that a golden moment or just a gold special edition? And is it just the fact that it's gold that's giving it that crazy price? Because they have a silver one too. I think it is. I don't want to linger too much on that because there's some other interesting things that we could kind of talk about. Rizzo at 14K. Donnie at 149,000. And that's because there's only 50 Donnies. He's so rare that, and is an FA, like crazy value, 149. So if you were able to grab one of these at whatever the drop price was, which was $16.99. No, there's 150. I thought there were only 50 of these. Well, whatever. Ultra rare, only 150, super low. He's cheap. That's crazy amount of money, like crazy amount of money. So congrats to everybody that made good return on their Donnie investment, who are just waiting for the whales. So the penguin one is one that people have been debating as well. It's an FA. It's not quite 1,000, but penguin's not popular yet. He just kind of isn't to the general public. You know, comic book fans know Penguin. I don't really know Penguin. I know Hush more than I know Penguin, which is hilarious because they did the Hush animated thing on the DC animated universe, which is on HBO Max right now. I haven't watched it, but I glanced a little bit at the beginning and I was like, But if they had a Penguin show, I wouldn't have been like, oh, finally I get to see Penguin. I don't know anything about him. Now, comic fans and true comic collectors say that it's like a mafia style character or a mafia boss, but there's a bunch of mafia bosses style characters who don't give me that sense of, he's kind of weird looking, like the Penguin does. So I don't know. Maybe he's appropriately priced. Let's kind of keep going. That Harley Quinn FE by Steve Pugh is just a thing of beauty. 13K. Yeah, that's my favorite version of Harley Quinn. It's a lot of people's favorite. It's just really well done. Let me look at the edition size. So there's only 500 of those. That's right. That's why. Really rare. And it's Harley Quinn. And the art is good. So it's like all of the stars are aligning that kind of pull people in. I'm just jumping over to YouTube as well. Guys, like the video. That really helps quite a bit. And then let's look at a few more, and then we'll kind of like put a pin in today. All right, cool. We got to the bottom. So Spider-Man Ultra Rare sitting just under 7,000. You know that's going to go up as the Secret Rare goes up. John F. Walker sitting at 53. Not everybody's favorite character, but he is an FA, and he's going to be in the Dark Avengers along with Natalie's sister, the other Black Widow, one of many Black Widows. So it's going to be, I think he's going to be a character that people watch, but I don't think they're going to write him to where he's popular. I think they're going to keep him as kind of like doofy, which is something that they do a lot with this whole vibe of, I'm the military guy, I'm traditional, blah, blah, blah. That's not really the energy that's happening in Marvel. It's all kind of about change and perspective and all that stuff. And then the Borg Cube common sitting at 50, the rare at 139, so forth and so on. There's so much in this marketplace to look at. I didn't even get to all the mighties. So let's definitely take a second where I can kind of give you my wrap up. Before that, just a reminder, if you want to support the channel, go to the Refined Otaku shop. I keep links in my description of all of the relevant information, some fun places, fun locations. And so for these lives, it really supports the channel. If you just go ahead and grab yourself a Wild with Wilder t-shirt, show your love for the channel. I'm going to work on even more designs, but when the one right here on the left, that is the podcast logo where you can listen to the YouTube videos on your podcast on the go. And I have that up on Anchor, so they should be live. The first 2 episodes should be live now in all the different podcast apps. I also have the standard Wild with Wilder logo. Check it out, support the show. Or if you just want to kind of get your own like different thing, you can get 10% off anything in the store with code name Wilder. We have trunks. Summer is coming. We have a lot of anime bathing suits. I worked with some really fun artists, and I did some of the design work myself, and we were able to put together what I think is a nice, fun palette for the summer time. So if you want to support the show, if you want to grab some hoodies, now is the time. Thank you so much for watching Wild with Wilder, and thank you so much for supporting the show. So let's do a little bit of a send-off. I'm looking at my notes, everybody. Do not worry. Okay, so to kind of put a pin in things, this is going to be kind of the new format of Wild with Wilder Live. We are going to be going live every day. We're going to try for 11, see how that works. If I need to change, I will let you know on Twitter. If the time is going to be different every day, maybe I'll tell you on Twitter. I don't know, but it's my show. I can do whatever I feel like. So for now, we're going to go live at 11. We're going to go for about an hour, hour and a half until I get tired. We'll do some extra long streams if we can get some audience participation. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. And we're going to keep talking about Veve, because I got to strategize. We have to make ourselves some Veve gems. What's good? What isn't good? Some stuff we're going to talk about next time. Maybe we'll talk about some comic book influences. Things like that. So if you happen to catch this, I'm going to give you a heads up of one of the things I'm doing. Iron Fist #1, the comic book, is coming out tomorrow. It's going to be the first appearance of the new Iron Fist, Asian American character, and it's going to be the first time that we have an actual Asian American Iron Fist that I think is going to be the bridge to get us to having Iron Fist in the MCU, because they don't want to have the original Danny Rand, because just kind of where the culture is now, to a lot of people it feels like cultural appropriation, even though that's kind of where the character has been. So I understand they want to keep it PC, so they're looping in new characters. So when that issue hits tomorrow, I'm going to go get myself some copies. I'm going to go look for the variants, because I want that #1 issue for when it blows up in who knows when. Maybe something happens soon, but this one is probably going to have a slow, gradual build. And I think it's going to be a good little micro investment to have on the low. So I have my some comics over there that I've been kind of going about this the same way, taking some gambles, taking some guesses, and going after a few things which I think are actually huge. But this is just a little tidbit, not financial advice, just from my perspective. I think this is a good grab to get. It's a first appearance. If the character ends up being something substantial, which I think they're going to push him to be, I think this is a first one to have. I'm going to tell the story of my history with #1 comics, my sad history, on another episode. But once again, thank you so much for watching Wild with Wilder. I really appreciate you guys. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at Wild with Wilder. Be sure to listen to the podcast on Anchor, Wild with Wilder, or just watch us on YouTube. You can also follow me on Snapchat. The logo should be here in the corner, where I post just some random things throughout the day, little tidbits, a couple of quick things. I'm going to post a little post-show greeting on there right after this. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Peace. Good luck on your Veve journey. Get your gems. Get your blue chips. Be patient. We have time. We are early. We